Welcome to the first episode of Class Act. What is Class Act, you say? Let's just say it's a makeover show that's gaining a lot of extra credit with teachers in the Red Clay area. I'm Chris Jones, your host, and it's a little wet out here, so how about we go inside? Today we're at the historic Warner Elementary School in Wilmington, Delaware. I love the way the school looks from the outside. It gives you that classic school vibe that you'd find in a John Hughes film. But hey, we're not here to work on curb appeal. It has that already. Let's go in and see if we can help someone brush up on their 3 R's. And no, it's not what you might think. Hi again. Wow, if only these walls could talk. I just feel smarter with each step I take. But enough about me. I mentioned outside about the 3 R's. Well, on Class Act, they stand for something a little different. I like to think of them as reimagine, rebuild, and reinvent. So how do those concepts work with our show? Well, it's simple. We looked all over the district to find a teacher who's such a class act that we felt they deserve a little something given back to them. So, over the course of the next few days, we're going to reimagine their educational environment. Then our team of expert craftsmen and women are going to rebuild their classroom into something new, hence reinventing their teaching experience. Sounds cool, right? Did I forget to mention they have no clue we'll be doing this? Well, with the help of some great people we found, our first Class Act starts right here at Warner Elementary, and it only seems fitting to kick off our show where we all started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to kindergarten.
My name is Omika Mumford. I teach kindergarten at Warner Elementary. I've been teaching at Warner for 20 years. People perceive teaching as play, especially at the kindergarten level. They're not aware of the level of academic rigor that occurs. I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher because you could see on their faces their light bulb moment. And so for me, that was priceless. Class size has, I believe, always been an issue. The more children you put into a classroom, the smaller that classroom becomes. Storage is an issue. I don't have everything that I've had that I started out with 20 years ago. However, I have a lot of things. When I started out, I think my room was 3 times the size. And so it allowed for a lot of area with the classroom size I have now. You know, you are finding yourself constantly reducing the amount of materials you have. My mom retired from her job for 25 years. She was a greeter at Walmart. She would let me know every time they had the navy blue hoodies on sale. And so I would stock up on navy blue hoodies because they often come in during the winter with short sleeve shirts. And so if you're cold, you can't learn because the only thing you're focusing on is when will you get warm. If I'm in a position to give them something of necessity, and sometimes, you know, just once, I do. They're my kids.
Wow, this place could use our help. Better late than never, I always say. She sure does have a lot of stuff. I guess she doesn't like to throw things away, and who would with all these educational tools? Let's get started. So this is the library. It's really small, it's really cramped, and it's not very inviting for kids, so we have some ideas for this. I guess this is the tech side. It could work if it was 1985. Just show me where my Commodore 64 is and I am in heaven. So this is her desk. How does she get anything done? I can see if you're having a bad day, the kids are getting to you. You can kind of hide back here. Can you see me? Can you see me? Now you can.
Now you don't.
And so we have a grand task at hand. So let's see what we need. A peaceful place to relax and read, a computer area that, well, is in the 21st century, a cleaner workspace for her to call her own, and most importantly, storage. Lots and lots of storage. I have just the person to help us with this. It's my friend Phil Conti. He's an architect from a company called Studio Jade who specializes in educational environments. You'll get to meet him later. All I can say is we've collaborated on some really great concepts for this. Anyway, before we can make the magic happen, we got to start with a clean slate. So let's get out our erasers and delete the stuff in this room. Well, that was exhausting. Thank goodness for a little help from my friends. Nice work. Well, that's a wrap for our first day of this makeover. Make sure you stay tuned to see what tomorrow has in store. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of our makeover. Yesterday, we reimagined the kindergarten class of Miss Amika Mumford. We assessed what we thought could be done to make her classroom more functional and an overall better environment for her and her students. We emptied the place out, which was no easy feat. And today is my favorite, construction day. So grab a hammer and let's get building. So we're here in our classroom makeover with some of Mika's friends and family. We have Valerie, her friend, who is her cohort. She sort of helped bring her into this whole process. And we have Zenobia, her niece, and her mom, Sharita. So Valerie, what was it about Amika that made you think she'd be perfect for this?
Amika is one of the most dedicated teachers I've ever seen. She's a pleasure to be around. She just has this spirit about her that you want to work with her, and she loves her children. Right. She also likes her supplies. So she had kind of a crowded room when we saw it, and we thought maybe we should help her out and help her get rid of some of the stuff she was holding on to.
That's great.
I think she will be overwhelmed, just thrilled at when you say there's going to be a lot more storage space. That's always been a problem.
Right.
And for that, I know she will be truly thankful.
Yeah. So what do you think it is about Amika that will really bring a community together to help her for this?
I think basically because that's the kind of person that she is. When she can be of help, of service, she tries hard to be there, even when it causes problems for her with her schedule.
Yeah, she seems very selfless.
She has a full schedule all the time, but she'll make time.
Yeah. So we're gonna ask all of you guys to help us in here, but Valerie, I've heard you in particular are pretty handy. What do you think you want to help us with in here?
I may be helping with a little campfire craft, or maybe helping with something that another teacher might be able to replicate in their room if they see something that they like.
Okay, so this will sort of be an inspiration for other teachers potentially.
That's what we're hoping. Everybody can walk away with something.
All right, well, we have a lot to do. We've got a lot done here, but there's still a lot more to go. So let's pick up some tools and some dust masks and get going.
Okay.
Projects that are left to tackle, let's see, walls. Jeff, do you want to start working on refinishing the walls? And then I do have the paint, and maybe later today, 2 of us can start looking at the murals.
Let me just go over the murals, how many we have. We have the forest mural, which you can see is pretty much this.
Right.
We have a shot from the moon looking at Earth. The only thing that's going to be tricky because there's a window in the way.
Cut out around.
Yeah, so we'll see what we can do there. If we and again, the only good thing about that, again, that's an 8 sheet, so we can piece it.
Number 2, the wall storage unit. They're 6-foot wide shelves, so you've got 2 6-foot wide shelves spanning 12 feet, and then there's 4 of those that go up. So you have 2 verticals on each end, and then 2 more in the middle of each shelf.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here and we're ready to make the stools for Omika's word wall writing area. And we saw something online that we thought would fit in great with the theme. We've got some mushroom stools here. So here is a finished product of what we're going to be making. The parts that you're going to need are a stool. We got this at a large supply area for about $7. We've got some fleece from a fabric store. We've got foam that we're cutting out to add some cushion to the seat. And we've got some polyfill batting. And we've got cord. So we're going to take you through the process of how to make this so that you can have a finished stool. So before I put the batting on top here with the cover, I want to make sure I put a piece of foam to add extra cushioning, and then I'm going to put the batting on top. The way I got the circle is I just inverted it, traced around it, and then I'm cutting out my circle. And what I'm doing now is I'm tracing the outside of the chair so I can make the cushion top for it. I trace around the diameter of the circle, and then I lift it up. In order to be able to sew a seam, I need to measure out about 4 inches, and I'm going to mark that so that when I cut it, I'm cutting on the dotted line around, and it gives me a seam that I can fold over and sew. So I've cut out the top of the mushroom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to sew a seam so that I can put my cord through the seam and pull it tight around the chair. So I'm folding this over about 1 inch, and I'm going to sew 3/4 inch around. And while I'm sewing, I want to make sure that my fabric doesn't gather. And any mistakes you make are going to be hidden when you pull the drawstring. When you're finished, it's going to look like this. Next, I'll show you how to put the drawstring in. Okay, so we're ready to put our cording through the top of our mushroom. And how I like to do it is I attach it to a safety pin, and I guide it through the opening of my mushroom cover. As soon as I find the opening. Thank you. I've left a little bit of an opening so it makes it easy for the safety pin to go in. And that's just to make sure that the thread doesn't come loose and I don't lose it in there. And you can kind of guide it through with your fingers and feel for the safety pin. And that's how the string goes through. And when you're finished, it will look like this. Make sure you've got a nice piece at the end so that you can pull the drawstring. You don't want it too short. You don't want the thread to go back into the seam of the mushroom. And I tied 2 knots on the end to try and help prevent it from going in. So now we're ready to make the actual mushroom chair cover. We have the chair piece of foam, and my friend here with me, Zenobia, is here to help me assemble this together. We've got the foam on top and some batting. That'll help to make the rounded part of the mushroom. We will slip the cover over top and then turn that upside down for me. Fantastic. And pull the strings. And I'm going to hold this in place while she's pulling it. Pull it tight. And you see how it just, I push down a little, it goes right over the top. And if we can't get it over the top, we can change the batting. But if we pull tight, it cinches right up. Ready? Hold that.
I got you.
Put your hand right there, and we will tie a bow to hold it in place. Whoop. All right, put your finger back on there. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, turn it over for me. And there is the top of our mushroom. Next, we'll put the legs on, and the stool's finished. We've got a little part that sticks out here. We want to make sure we get it in the appropriate way, because once you stick these in, you can't remove them. And you'll hear a click noise.
We talked about the 3 R's previously, but if I could use one more R, it would be repurpose. A lot of teachers have to dig deep into their own pockets to get things for the kids, and with only a small stipend allotted to them, it isn't enough to make changes. Well, today I'm going to show you a way to repurpose existing classroom furniture on a shoestring budget. Take this table, for instance. This is one of the existing classroom tables, and as you can see, it needs quite a bit of help. So it's got a lot of stuff stuck to it, a lot of tape, a lot of goopy stuff. What we're gonna do is we're gonna scrape this table. We have some photo murals we've made of popular kids' books. We're gonna glue those down onto this, and then we're gonna put a clear coat, a nice durable clear coat on top of that. So first I'm gonna start with prepping the table. I'm gonna, there, these should come up, there we go, that's a good start. So we're gonna get all this up, because if I leave this glue and this tape on here, the picture isn't going to stick properly, and then the whole thing will become loose over time. So we really want to make sure that we get all this off. This is pretty easy to get off. It takes a little bit to get it started, but once you do, it comes off pretty nicely. The next step, we're going to spray glue onto the back of our mural, and that we need to do outside because that's a little bit smelly and messy. So when we come back, we're going to put the mural down, and then we can pour the resin. All right, so my friend Jeff here is helping out, and what we're gonna do is we've sprayed both sides, the back of the mural and also the top of the desk, with a spray adhesive. So you let that dry, both sides get a little bit tacky, and then you have to be very careful about how you attach these because it's a permanent bond. So we're gonna create a little belly in the middle, and I'm gonna kind of line it up with my eyes. Keep coming down, coming down, coming down. Oh, yes. And somehow magically it's centered. So we decided to use a picture from Where the Wild Things Are, which is one of my favorite stories. And anybody can do this. You just need a high-res photo of the picture that you want. Sometimes you can even take your own picture with your own camera so you can get a high-res photo and take it to any kind of copy center, and they should be able to make you a big mural-sized picture like this, and you can do the same thing. So I'm going to trim from underneath so that I'm sure I get a really nice, accurate, close cut. All right, so this is an aluminum edging, a flashing you can get at any big box store, like a home improvement store. And this will do a great job at following the contours of the table and creating a boundary to keep the resin from flowing over the edge and making a mess everywhere. And this way we're also able to use a little bit less resin than we would normally.
Yeah, man.
The trick is around the corners. You have to make sure you put enough nails in so that it hugs the corners tightly. Thank you, thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the fish. So this is a two-part resin epoxy method that we're using. So what you want to do is, if you're doubling up like we are, to use twice as much as you would normally use, what you want to do is, to give yourself as much working time as possible, pour both part A's in first, and then you pour both part B's in right after that, so that they don't mix for very long, so it gives you as much working time as possible. Okay, for the finale here, we're gonna spread this out on the table. If it gets any little air bubbles in it, they work themselves out gradually. This is the perfect surface for a teacher's room because it'll take lots and lots of wear and tear and abuse by kids. It's just a really nice all-purpose top that should last a really long time. All right, very good. So we have the resin down. It takes about 4 hours to cure, but we're gonna let it sit overnight. And then tomorrow we're gonna pull off the edging, trim any little bits of resin, and put the new edging on. So that's another piece of the puzzle towards getting this room done. This is how you make a storybook table. You can close the book on day 2, literally. We're making great strides in rebuilding this room. Only a couple days left and then the big reveal. So stay tuned. You never know what cool things will take shape. Today I was working on another makeover show, but I enlisted the help of my good friend Bo Kegler to help get things in order. I feel this project will be in amazing shape when Bo gets his creative juices flowing, but don't tell him that. We don't want it going to his head.
One of the first projects that I kind of took on was this kind of rehabilitation of these 4 battered children's tables. So now I have to take the flashing off, and there's still a bit of finish work to do. Go around the perimeter of each table, first with a box cutter, and then the last step would be to take some high grit sandpaper and just give it a once over. Pop the edging back on, paint the legs, and then these bad boys are done. Just have to do it 3 more times. What could go wrong?
Even though time's ticking away, the finishing touches to these tables is well worth the wait. While Bo and his crew have their hands full with these beautiful tables, friends and family are pitching in hopes that this classroom will finally make the grade.
I think it's progressing well. It's just amazing what you can do. You know, you see these shows on TV, how they'll do a makeover, but until you actually are a part of it, it's hard to believe that it all comes together. Thrilled, excited, just to see her expression and the joy that I know it will bring to her. I've never known her to faint, so I'm just hoping that she doesn't do that.
We're going to sawtooth this, just like this.
Oh, this is the piece we're making now.
Yeah, these are
the boxes.
No, we're not making the boxes. Let's make the, well, how big is this? Oh, this is the 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
Well, then we are going to make the boxes then. Next the page.
Oh, that's fine. I mean,
I got a couple plans in case the first plan doesn't work. So the teacher really likes owls, and we wanted to incorporate a large owl into the project. So we're going to take the smart board that's on the wall, and we're going to put tackable surface all around the smart board, and we're going to do it in the shape of an owl. So the smart board will be in the owl's belly.
So what I'm working on now is the owl template that's going to go around the smartboard. It's going to be multi-dimensional, so our problem is we've got 2 copies of everything, so I have to cut out a master copy and then a second copy that will be cut out.
Actually, this guy right here, Bo, he's actually 15 years old. He started in this business and look what's happened to him.
It ages you terribly.
He's only 15.
3 heart attacks.
And he used to be the nicest guy in the world.
So I just need here.
But now he's cynical, he's bitter. But he's one hell
You know
of
I'm
a
trying
art
to work.
director.
Can we please?
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
I just popped by to see what was going on, and I have to say, I'm a little jealous of how good both Bo and Phil are doing during my absence. It's almost too good. Well, I guess it's all okay. It's for Amika, who's such a class act, so the more the merrier. We only have some last-minute touches and straightening up to do before the big reveal. I am so excited! It's almost like the first day of school. I better get my back-to-school clothes ready. Only one chance to make that first impression, so get ready out there. It's almost time.
1, 2, 3 days down and we're done. Woo-wee! It all goes so fast. Before Amika comes in, let's talk to Phil, Bo, and John and remember exactly what it is we did.
I'm here with Phil Conti from Studio Jade, and we're going to talk a little bit about what were your inspirations when they first came to you. Now, this is the first one of these that we've done, and so, you know, it was kind of like a new kind of thing. What were your inspirations for this particular design?
Learning environments matter for children. And when the opportunity came to me, I immediately thought this was a great idea to have an impact. Specializing in K-12 environments, this was a great experience. Really being able to put yourself in the mind of the student, kindergarten student.
Right. You did such a nice job creating these sort of smaller environments. The room actually looks bigger than it looked before because you've created these great little secluded areas for the kids to go in.
Kindergarten is often based on centers, right? There's a reading center, a art music center, small group instruction center. So instead of just making them rigid blocks of space, to start to personalize each space. So the student recognizes there's a difference between this space and this space, and I want to do something different here, and I want to do something different there.
So we have some of the different elements of the designs laid out here, and sort of your early designs that are more monochromatic, and then they work their way up to the adding the color in just so people could get a sense of the structure of the whole thing. And it looks like you pretty much stayed true to the design in most cases. Well, Phil, I gotta say, I mean, the dream here became a reality beautifully, so thank you so much for your work.
My pleasure, thank you.
You bet. So here I am with Bo Kegler and John Chaffetz, two guys who were very instrumental in making this whole room happen. So tell me a little bit about what this place was like when you first saw it.
When we first came in, it was organized chaos, if that's such a thing. It was filled with stuff, but you could kind of tell that she knew where all her stuff was.
What were the projects that really grabbed you guys when you saw the design?
Probably repurposing the tables, these 4 small children's tables. One of the big driving factors of this whole thing was how much existing furniture and existing stuff can we reuse or just make look better or more functional, just to kind of save some money. You know, teachers have to go out of pocket for all this stuff, so rather than just bring in a bunch of new stuff, it was what can we use that's already here.
Well, I mean, it looks really amazing. All the long hours were worth it, do you think?
Yeah, just for her reaction alone, just to see her walk in and
yeah, that was very
and see
cool.
her room.
What was it about this project that made you guys want to come be a part of it?
So there's the emotional element, which is, I remember when I was a kid, there are certain classrooms that stick with you, and this idea that for us, it's a gig, it's a job, it's a renovation project, but this idea that maybe something connects with these kids. You picture kids coming in for the first time and they see this forest, or just something that blows them away, and that stuff stays with you. So that's the emotional component of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember the murals that were in certain classrooms, you know, in my elementary school, and some of them I helped paint. They're probably long painted over, but and it sticks with you. And you know that next year there's another group of kids that are going to have the same reaction that this group of kids coming in. They're just
one week of work is creating years of
after
this
effects classroom
for
will
these
stick
kids.
stick with those students.
Yeah, if you think about it, I mean, it's a relatively small amount of commitment to create just a giant wave of education that comes after it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
First day back. We're all excited, trying to figure out how this year will play out, and we'll go in. Everybody's hoping that there's breakfast in there. Coffee, breakfast, the new agenda, and our class list. Oh my goodness, we are waiting to see that. I usually start with a prayer.
Go ahead.
Father God, thank you for waking me up this morning in my right mind and good health. I ask that you guide and protect me, my family, and my friends in all of our journeys to and from home and all those in between. I ask that you just cover Warner Elementary, Lord. Help us do exactly what you have called us to do with our students, with our coworkers, with admin. I ask that you cover all of them from the very top to the very bottom. And that this is an awesome year that glorifies you. In Jesus' name, amen.
New classroom. Come on in. I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. Let's give you a tour. What do you think?
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, they did a really nice job.
It's so nice. So nice. Oh my God.
Well, hey, let's give you a tour. So this is our futuristic tech area. We use photo murals to bring space into this room. We gave it a new countertop a new colors, this great purple, a new teacher's desk, and its own solar system. And we worked some whimsy in with a rocket ship leg for the computer center and a Crayola crayon for her desk. This is our word wall area. We repurposed the kidney-shaped table with some chalkboard paint. We added a place to keep chalk. Her friend Val made some mushroom seating, and we lowered the whiteboard so kids can reach. And then we added some tackable geometric shapes. Over here you'll notice the storage area. First, you can see the wall that was constructed to hide the storage. We also added shelving behind the walls, added swivel doors with a dry erase side and a tackable side to hold papers and such, as well as a tackable header. We also repurposed her cabinet with contact paper for a cleaner look. Lastly, the repurposed tables, which we gave a fresh, fun look with the help of some classic storybook illustrations. So this is our main wall. Amika mentioned she liked owls. Well, here's the biggest one in the room, around her smartboard. It's also tackable. We gave her a magnetic board with picture frames to hang her students' artwork. Below that is a new coat hanger complete with hoodies that were donated by many supporters from all over. We also provided her with the new fun cushion floor tiles and storage cubbies to fill with whatever she likes. Last but certainly not least is the new reading forest. We gave her a new area to not only contain her vast library of children's books, but plenty of fun seating for all of her students. So now we're going to bring in the people who were really very responsible for this. Phil Conti of Studio Jade, your friend Valerie, and Bo Kegler, who was the man with the hands of gold who really helped make all this happen.
God.
Here they are.
Wow, thank you so much. It's so nice.
Nice work. Nice job, guys. Thank you. Really nice. Very nice. So besides the primary people who helped here, there were so many other people who helped. All the maintenance people, friends, family. So let's bring them all in. Here they come. Yeah, Sharita.
Every day.
Before we leave, Amika Mumford, we want to thank you for being such a class act. That's for you. Here's an apple.
Thank you.
I think I hear the bell ring, so we're going to move on to our next classroom.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, that was quite a transformation, and Amika is so happy. So I think I'd give us an A+. If you know someone who you think is a class act, send us an email, a video, a note by carrier pigeon, anything that will tell us why you think they should be part of our show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Jones, and this is Class Act, where we're building excellence one classroom at a time.